Catch Me If You Can is the story of Frank Abagnale Jr., a young man who is thrust into adulthood as a coping mechanism after his parents' separation, but it is arguably a portrait of Steven Spielberg's personal life. The character of Frank Jr. resembles a youthful Spielberg who is always trying to get his foot in the door. The similarities between the two don't stop there. At age 18, like Frank Jr.'s parents, Spielberg's parents also divorced. This event alone had a crucial impact on Spielberg's life that has since been reflected in his body of work. Interestingly enough, Frank Jr.'s parents' divorce affected his life on a scale akin to the one Spielberg experienced at an early age as well. Both Spielberg and Frank Jr. submerged themselves into adulthood as a coping mechanism for the grief they were experiencing at the time. At the same time that Abagnale was concealing his identity, Spielberg was finding his own way into the film industry by sneaking onto the Universal Studio lot for an up-close look. Spielberg took up residence in an abandoned janitor's closet, converting it into an office and pretending to work for the studio until people actually gave him work to do. When Spielberg later signed a contract with Universal Studios, like Frank Jr., he lied about his age, but claimed to be 1 year younger than he really was, so that he would then be the youngest filmmaker ever contracted to a major studio. Both Spielberg and Abagnale are uniquely driven in their ambitions, and the roots of their motivation can be seen in their family relationships. Many of Spielberg's early films touch on the theme of parental absence, however, none so clearly focus on this particular central idea as much as Catch Me If You Can. For instance, in E.T., the father is physically absent and the audience is only introduced through vague allusions and awkward family discussions around the table.
I can't. He's in Mexico with Sally.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind is slightly different to E.T. in that both parents are physically present throughout the film. However, the father is mentally absent when he is overcome with his alien obsession. In E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the mother is recognizably the head of the family and acts as the glue that holds everyone together. On a related note, Spielberg's father was emotionally distant for a large portion of his life, whereas his mother was always happy to indulge in his interests. Catch Me If You Can diverges from the typical Spielbergian parental trope in that the parenting roles are reversed. Frank Jr. has a stronger relationship with his father than with his mother, thus explaining his desire to make his father proud. It becomes apparent that, even though he is running from his family, Frank Jr.'s letters show a strong desire to ultimately receive his father's love. Spielberg has said that his father never gave him his approval until his dad's fellow workers walked up to him and said they'd seen his son movies and they really liked them. The relationship Spielberg has with his father coincides with the father-son relationship seen in Catch Me If You Can, and says a lot about his personal style as a director.